In this lesson, we're going to write ratios in fraction form. So if I wanted to write chocolate chip to sprinkle cookies, in the past we've been writing 3 to 6. Well, as a fraction, that's simply 3 over 6. The first term goes on top, the second term goes on bottom. And then we write it in simplest form, so dividing both of those by 3, we get 1 to 2, or 1/2. If I want sprinkles to chocolate chip, I'm going to write 6 to 3, which gets written as 6 over 3, because the top number is the first number, second number goes on bottom, and then reducing that, it's 2 to 1, or simply 2 times as many. We're going to use some new terminology, which you just heard me say. So in the first case, this half, the chocolate chip cookies are half as many as the sprinkles. But you can see this is half, cutting it in half, or the sprinkles are 2 times as many, twice as many as the chocolate chip. You can see there's 2 groups to the 1. So we're going to start using some different terms today as we're looking at fractions. Half and 2. And on the next screen, we'll look at that some more. I want you to look at my 2 sentences here. These 2 are the same sentences worded differently, and these 2 are the same sentences or questions worded differently. In the first one, how many times the chocolate chip cookies are the sprinkle cookies? So we want to know the sprinkle cookies because that's not the how many times part. In the second question, notice the how many times is still with the chocolate chip cookies. We're still asking the sprinkles. So the sprinkles are how many times the chocolate chip. In both cases, there's 6 to 3, 6 sprinkles to 3 chocolate chip cookies, or 2 to 1. They're both exactly the same question. And so in both cases, this is supposed to be a 1. In both cases, it's twice as many sprinkles as chocolate chip cookies. So if you look at the question and think logically, you're looking for what's by itself here. The sprinkle cookies is what the question is, and it's how many times the chocolate chip. And the second one, or set of questions, the third and fourth question here, it's how many times the sprinkles are the chocolate chip. So this time, I want to know the chocolate chip are how many times the sprinkles. Same question, just stated backwards. So this time we have the chocolate chips, which are 3 out of 6 sprinkles, which is half as many. So there's half as many chocolate chip as sprinkles. And so these are both the same. And again, we always write them in simplest form. I'm going to show you one more algebraic way to look at the sentence and analyze how to figure out which number goes on top. You look for the word is or are. So here's the is's or are's. In this case, they're all r's. And there's always a how many times something is or are something else. So the word that's by itself and not with the how many times is the one we want to look at. And since sprinkles is by itself here in both of these, sprinkles is all alone here. Since sprinkle is by itself on one side of the is or are, it's not with the how many, I'm going to look at the sprinkles, and if they're more than the other number we're comparing to, then my answer has to be more than 1. So then I know the bigger number has to go on top of the smaller number. I'll say that again. Sprinkles is by itself on one side of the R. On both of these it's by itself on one side of the R. It doesn't have the how many times with it. And since the sprinkles are bigger, my bigger number has to go on top of the other one because I have to come out with something more than 1 because it's 1 or 2 or 3 times more than the smaller one. So my number's got to come out more than 1. In the second one, set of questions at the bottom, it's how many times the sprinkle cookies are the chocolate chip cookies. So this time the how many's with the sprinkles, chocolate chips by itself. Well, chocolate chips are less, so my answer has to come out less than 1, so the small number has to go on top of the bottom. So you got to kind of think about, if the number I'm looking for that's by itself is bigger, my number's got to be bigger than 1. If the one I'm looking for is less than the other one, my number's got to be smaller, so the small number's got to be on top. It's going to be less than 1. Pause the video while you try this question yourself. There are 2 sets of questions that are the same. The first set are the same question, just worded differently, and the second set are the same question, worded differently. And remember to put both answers in lowest terms or simplest form when you are done. In the first question, I'm looking for my word is or are. So here's are. And the sprinkle cookies are by themselves, because here's the how many times the chocolate chip are the sprinkle cookies. And so my sprinkle cookies are less than my chocolate chip cookies, so my answer is going to be less than 1, meaning the small number is going to go on top. So the sprinkle cookies is a small number, so it's 4. Chocolate chip cookies are 6. So sprinkle cookies is being asked, it goes on top. It also has to be smaller than 1 because they're smaller than the chocolate chips. And then the sprinkle cookies are 4/6 times the chocolate chip cookies, or if I reduce that, divide both of those by 2, I get 2/3 in simplest form. So the sprinkle cookies are 2/3 times the chocolate chip cookies, which 2/3 is still less than 1. In the second set of questions, I look for the are, and again, in both situations, this time the chocolate chip cookies are by themselves, and the how many times is with the sprinkles in both cases. So this time I need chocolate chip cookies to go on top, and my chocolate chip cookies this time 6 to my sprinkles 4, and the chocolate chip cookies are more than the sprinkles, so my answer should come out to be more than 1. And 6/4 is more than 1 because 4/4 would be 1, so 6 out of 4 is bigger than 1. And if I reduce that, I can divide both of those by 2, and this time I have that the chocolate chip cookies are 3/2 times the sprinkle cookies, or if I made that a mixed number, that's the same as 1.5 times, which makes sense because there's more chocolate chip cookies than sprinkles.